Tonight, Marco upsets the whole F1 fan base.
You're in a rock. Are you in fact Michael Schumacher?
I state my sexuality.
I'm homosexual.
And Marco talks about knobs.
There are many knobs to fiddle with when you... So, we're here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What's basically identified as the home of American racing. And this is the Ford F100, the best-selling Ford ever. And we're going to see how fast it can go around the speedway. Lovely speedometer. Apparently it can only do 90. According to the speedo. Come on. If we hit 100, that'd be incredible. When we go onto the straight, I reckon we will. 100! Come on, no, 99. Right, we're onto the straight now. 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107. We're off the speedometer, come on! We're 107, 108. No, we're losing the car almost. We're down to 100. 102 now. Can we get past 108? That's the question. We're going to be going in at a high speed, so if we can get past 108, well then, that's my work done. Well, sorry, if we can't get past 108, that's my work done. If we can, then what can we hit? Come to the straight now at 102. We would have been lapped by an IndyCar by now. Come on, 108. We can't get past 108. So, to conclude, you can't go past 108 miles an hour in a Ford F100. Their best-selling car, not their fastest, but convenient, looks nice, all around, feels nice.
So, now it's time to see what's going on in the world of cars and motorsport. So, we have some news, which is the fact that Londoners must use fully electric cars by the year 2020, and the fact that I live in London, that's not good, because I won't have a driving licence by then, and I probably won't.
Well, seriously, I am an avid supporter for electric cars. I mean, they're not too bad. I mean, think the Tesla. That's okay. Think the, what is it? The Koenigsegg, what was it? Regera? I don't know.
In my opinion, there's one good electric car, which is the BMW i8.
What about the Koenigsegg? I think there's a Koenigsegg that's electric, I believe, or use a hybrid. Although the BMW is a bit of a cheat though, because it's a hybrid. But I'm an avid support for electric cars. I think they're okay. I mean, as long as we have enough power in them and enough batteries, then we can take them to top speeds. We could also add maybe an engine kind of noise thing to make it sound like it's an engine.
Yeah, but that's just cheap rubbish. I'm sorry, but you don't have the petrol, the cylinder, the masterclass of engineering, which is a V8 or a V6.
Do you want to live here do you want to live here for a long time? Because unfortunately, we're not going to be living here for a long time.
All I care is that the world doesn't end during my lifetime. After I'm
it could end anyway.
It could end
anyway. An asteroid could come down and kill us all, which is probably likely. Probably not.
And there's a nuclear war on the horizon with North Korea and America, and as of the date of recording,
they say that's
that
just for
hasn't happened
defense.
yet.
They just say that's for defense.
Yes, well, the reason I murdered someone was for self-defense. It doesn't make me innocent. I still killed someone.
I'm surprised North Korea haven't haven't tried to get us to get our series on the TV. Because it's such a good series.
No, because it shows privileges
and
in
they're
life
pretty
and
they're pretty good
privileges in career.
industrious people.
No, that's the South Koreans.
Well, I think both
But
are.
anyway. So, as I mentioned last week, this episode, Kieron will be looking at Ford and their history in Le Mans. But that will be later, because first I'm going to be having a look at this car. It's the new BMW off-road car in their series of the X5 and whatever, and it looks exactly the same as the previous one.
Right, here it is, the X6. Boot, not very big. You can barely fit, if I'm honest, three people in the back of that. And then you look at that, and, I mean, first off, the steering wheel, is on the wrong side. Got things there, many knobs to fiddle with when you're driving. And let's have a look at the engine, actually, before we're done. No, I want to get out. How do I get out of a car? There we go. So, here we're going to be looking at what ways the new X7 can improve on the X6. Big engine, very nice. So let's drive it. And it's a nice car, actually. I've never been a fan of this off-sporty BMWs, because that's not what they are. BMW have a style. It's called saloon cars. This is not what they're meant to be. This is not the sort of thing BMW do. I mean, and it's fine. It's a fine car. It's a bit difficult to control, probably driving too fast. So, it's great, but it's not as good as other sports cars I've driven. You see it. So, I mean, what makes BMW think this is a good idea? I mean, BMW with saloons. They're not big sports utility vehicles. And I think, it's actually, I found a plus point on this. It's quite difficult to destroy. It's very hard. It's almost like the Toyota Hilux, actually. So, maybe this thing will be good off the road rather than in the road. So, I'm going to go out the city and then tear up some farmers' fields. That's the Mercedes. The brakes on this thing don't work. The brakes are horrific. My goodness. There's a tunnel. Okay, so now we're out of the city. How will the car be? Like, will it be good? Let's see. So we're going to go to our trusty water and sand hill track, where we played King once. And you just don't feel anything. You just feel the car's too heavy, and it's not made for this. It's impossible to control. And I've just got stuck on the rocks. So, what else do I think about the car, if I'm honest? I think quite little of this car. Let's see, can it do a jump? And when you go in, the suspensions don't work, the shock absorbers feel like they're awful. So, if you're looking at buying a car, don't buy this, just please don't. I'm actually going to have to go and sell this quite quickly now, because I have discovered it is a rather horrific car. So with that, back to the studio.
And that is what gave the producers the idea. They told us to go out, buy some good 4x4 off-road cars which weren't a BMW. So, we were told to meet at the park's satellite array, and this is what happened.
I was the first to arrive at the park's satellite array, and the producers decided that we were to meet in the middle of the night, where the Milky Way was at large, and I could admire the beautiful view while I waited for my colleague. But then I was told, I had to explain my car to the viewers. So this is a slightly upgraded Land Rover Defender. Land Rover's best-selling car, coincidentally, which coincides with our theme, or one of the themes of the series. Now, I have seen bigger versions of this. Proper, bigger. The 2007 version, actually, has 5 seats and a massive boot. This is the original one, or the 1997 version. It's got a roof rack so you can put dead bodies, and big ride height so you can clear things. The boot isn't as big, which is why I put the roof rack, but I think this is a good car, and if my colleague arrives on the same thing as he did last episode, I may have to shoot him. And talking to my colleague, I wonder where my colleague is, and while I wait, I'm going to admire the Milky Way. The stars had gone in and the sun had come out, and there's still no sign of my colleague. I sat lonely at the Park Satellite Array, waiting for him, but I could still admire the breaking of dawn. I don't care it's a game, it is genuinely beautiful. I've got a text from my colleague, he said he's 3 miles away. Actually, these satellites are quite nice, they've got wheels on and you can move them, and I would like to go up one. I wish you could go up the satellite, because then we could have a race to the top of the satellite. Where is my colleague? Is he dead? It's a Jeep.
What my colleague decided to go in.
It's a Jeep.
Oh. Yeah, my car got a bit dirty, but
mine
that's
didn't.
A nice car that you picked there. I am actually quite impressed with what you picked. You have not been stupid like you normally are.
I'm
disappointed. Very nice.
I am disappointed in you. You've got an American car.
Oh.
You've got an American car.
Yeah, but you know, the reason America makes such good 4x4s is because they have such a diverse country. Look at Britain. What do we have? We literally have some hills, and that's about it. Everything else is flat and has bloody motorways and rails right in front of them.
The producers say you have 4x4s, and you will now race using no roads and going only off-road to the island in the middle of the reservoir. Also, you will have simulation damage. Okay, you ready?
So fine. So after we were ready, we set off. We are.
Bye! Right, there's some trees and I'm scared now.
Now, unfortunately, my sense of direction is absolutely gone, so I'm going to have to follow my course, which is actually going to be pretty easy, seeing as my car from 2012. Although I'm seeming to fall back, which is really worrying.
Oh my god, that's a massive hill! I'm going to have to go very slowly up that or I might flip and die. Oh cock, it's a tree. I just managed. Oh, you bastard! You shouldn't have got an American car. Oh cock, it's a road. Oh, I've almost spun. Right, so my colleague is talking to himself on his camera, and he is chatting rubbish. He has no idea where he's going. He's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. You're not going to make it. Oh my goodness. It's not, it's Australia.
Snakes in it, it's got spiders, it's got kangaroos, it's
And
got wallabies, which are kangaroos again, but it's got koalas, it's got it's got biotuber.
And all of the people here,
Annoying thing about the country.
all of the people here are descendants of British prisoners.
I am nearly there. I think I'm nearly there.
Okay, I have learnt that
700 yards away.
I'm 700 metres.
537. It's gone down again. It's really weird. It's annoying me. Oh, and I'm there. I'm at the distance. I think I am. I might be on the outskirts of it.
You might have gone...
I'm on the island.
How the
I know
heck...
where it is.
You're not, though. You're just not. You're not on it, and you know you're not.
Yeah, I'm on it.
You're not, though. Speed is the best way to do this.
Oh.
Yes, I'm on the island. I've hit a rock, almost. So my brakes have decided to come good.
I'm rested on this boat that was on the outside. Luckily enough, I managed to get my car in there. Just about.
Are you on a boat?
There's like this little boat and there's like a platform. I'm not on the middle island. I'm actually near, like, by the sea.
Okay, I'm on the island. Right, so from the island, you will drive to the Waterways cross country race. You have the advantage because I got to get.
There is one exception. You have to use off-road to get there. And
Yes.
there's no challenge. You just need to drive there.
And then you're doing a race.
At the speed of. So I need to meet up with you.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You just got to get there.
Oh, damn it.
Now.
You guys turn sharp.
Oh, cock!
What are you on about?
I've died! And with that, back to the studio, and it's time to watch Kieron's Le Mans Ford film. This car is indestructible, I've rolled it.
I found myself between some trees, which was quite quite
Oh,
nice.
God. That isn't a road, that is dirt track, and I'm allowed to use dirt tracks. Right, so I've rolled this car twice, it's in perfect working order.
Somehow I managed to land a tree on my car.
Oh, God. I've landed on the roof. And the car is still in perfect work. The only thing I've noticed about my car after rolling it 4 times, the steering rack's broken, as is the drive shaft, and the brakes don't work. It's basically like a second-hand car. Yeah, the engine's misfiring, my engine's misfiring. Still, we soldiered on.
There's something wrong with my revs, I think. I can't actually get the engine there.
I have in fact perished. Right, the engine keeps cutting out now, but I am almost there. The brakes don't work, I have no brakes. Right, I'm on a dirt track.
The problem with route waypoints is you can't actually see it and get there. It doesn't say like it's there.
It does for me. Because I'm almost there and I can see a massive line sticking.
You have to have the map on, and I've turned my map off. So that's why.
No, you don't, my map's
I'm
off.
saying like
The thing in
it
the...
doesn't say route waypoint is there.
The green says group destination where it is. So, an update. Once we arrived, and Kieron did arrive, the producers told us that we had to do a race. A water race into the city where we'd be given the final challenge. Unfortunately, I will have to use his footage from this because my camera decided to cut out just before we started said race. First, it's time to look at Kieron's Le Mans film.
Here it is, the GT40, the car that started it all, the car that won Le Mans 4 times in a row, from 1966 to 1969, with many drivers like Jackie Hicks, Bruce McLaren and others. The GT40 was one of the best Ford cars ever to be produced. And this is what started it all off. Previous years the car had bad luck, and it's a very feisty car to try and drive. I've been given this and been told not to try and race it too hard, although we are in the wet right now. And it's one of the worst conditions to be in these kind of cars. V8 engine right in the back with 2 exhausts. 5-speed manual gearbox. Well, although this car was very popular, only 105 were ever produced in its time span from 1964 to 1969, when it retired from Le Mans after that, I believe. And one of the weirdest places for this assembly to be built was Slough in the UK. But this car just seemed a one-off to everyone. A car that would take part a few years, maybe at Le Mans, win it, and then it would just be put into the history books, retired forever. Well, that wasn't quite the end of it for Ford and the GT. This is the second coming of Christ. This is the Ford GT that came out in 2005 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Ford being a company. The same as the previous car, there was a V8 in the back of the car, a supercharged V8, although this time there was a 6-speed manual. And this car didn't go to Le Mans. It was just a normal road car, which meant many people bought this, including a fat man called Jeremy Clarkson. Also, now the car was a lot more bigger, so that many overweight Americans could finally fit in a Ford GT. But yet again, the Ford just disappeared. It was only built from 2004 to 2007, but there was a lot more units, 4,038 units, much to the 105 for the first one. But was that over for Ford GT? Were they just going to give up and not make another car? No. This is the second generation of the new Ford GT. The Ford GT of 2017. Although there is a few different things. For example, there is now a new engine, an EcoBoost V6 engine turbocharged, which you may think for a supercar is very small. But let's put that to the test around the track of all tracks for this place to go. We're going to France. The equipment is pretty good in here as well, considering this is a road car. This is not supposed to be a Le Mans car at all. They have a different edition for that in the game, as they went to Le Mans last year and didn't win, of course. But it's got pretty good equipment and a few things to maybe keep you interested. I don't know if there's a radio in here because I don't have any CDs to put in, and I don't think we'll get any frequency on the radio. But coming down the straight, and you can already see that this car is pretty good. Hitting 195 now. Getting up. Can we get to 200? We're on the old straight, by the way. 204, 205, 206, 208. Up to 210. This is absolutely going well. Can we get ourselves up to maybe 215? We're getting there just. Can we... Now the benchmark is 220. I don't think we're going to have enough road to get there. Can we get to 220? We can't go up any more gears. 220, it's going to be... 220, can we get it? Can we get it? Can we get it? I don't think we are going to get it. Oh, we just missed out on the 220 mark. But I think this is a very nice car. Considering how bad it is at handling, it's absolutely brilliant on the straights. But the one big problem is the handling. It really just struggles. You can't get the car through the corner. You have to, even if you brake, sometimes you just have to brake so early that you just lose time easily. Now, if you notice at the back, it has a special wing that raises up and down, and many companies have already used that. For example, Koenigsegg, I believe Ferrari have maybe used it, Lamborghini especially. And Ford have now adopted this thing, seeing as they haven't made a supercar in a very, very long time. We're now normally just subjected to the normal Ford Focuses, KAs, stuff that we really just don't want that much. I mean, who wants a KA of all, for God's sake? Well, the producers decided to keep me at the track at night, which was going to be an interesting experience, but I decided to go for it. Well, here we go, at night, full of many fans who hope I can drive well, which might not be the case. Although I don't want to destroy Ford's new vehicle. Now, the corner that messed me up last time, I'm going to actually brake for it this time. There we go, we actually got through it. Going very slowly. See, road cars have really struggled to get grip on them. I mean, I've drove F1 cars before, and they're just so easy to get through corners, and that's why I think they're much better than these. But anyway, I'll stop babbling on, because I can hardly see anything up until I get to the corner. And I can hardly even see the braking zone. Now we're going to be going into the section where I don't think there's some street lamps, but they're very light. And we do have headlamps, but I can hardly see anything. This is a nightmare right now. I don't know when I'm going to have to brake at all. Active suspension and active aerodynamics, which you won't see on an F1 car anymore since it's been banned. Has 647 horsepower, which is not surprising seeing it as a turbo with a V6 engine. So now it's time to put the car on the Top Gear test track, taking it back to Great Britain to our test track. So off we go for a 4 GT lap. Now coming through where he will go through the follow through, but not yet. Now coming up to Chicago. Through Chicago now. Now going to come down the mini straight into Hammerhead. Does he go wide? Does the car go wide? Does the car go wide? No. And it's gone down into first gear. Now coming through to follow through. You can hear it's revving down. Coming through follow through. Going off the edge though, but we allow that anyway. It's losing time off of that probably anyway. Absolutely flat out surely through there. And Bon. Wide off the exit there and across the line.
So, 4GT. Is it faster than, as Kieron called it, that old Alpha? Well, this is going to be difficult as I'm holding the camera, so let's just have a look. Oh, there you go, top of the leaderboard, 4GT, 15.419. And now, it's time to rejoin our off-road challenge where we are at the race.
Right, your car's American. How do you feel?
Just look at me checking out my own car. It's brilliant.
It's cheap.
It is a brilliant car. It is cheap. It's not cheap. It's American.
The poor man's Land Rover.
Is it? So how come I haven't seen it? I haven't seen. I'm being honest here. I haven't seen a Range Rover.
Oh my God, the ABS.
For ages. Yes, my colleague has decided to take a very bad route.
No.
Dear. I've managed to find myself in the rockery of Gibraltar.
You're in a rock. Are you, in fact, Michael Schumacher?
The worrying thing was, though, was my colleague had a faster car. I just had to hope for him to muck it up.
I have to admit, no chance of that. No chance of that. The only thing is, the car has got way too much power now. I've upgraded it. It's also because I've got ABS.
Oh, yes! My colleague has decided to muck up, and I'm catching back up.
Do you have any brakes? Have you got ABS on?
Yes, my brake and everything else is absolutely terrible though. I had to make cuts on my car. Oh, now go to hole. Can I catch up to Marco? I don't think I can.
No, I've lost it. I've died.
He's died. Nearly. He's died.
Oh, no,
yes, into the lead.
The steering rack's
lost
gone.
It through there.
You just broke my steering rack.
Halfway. One thing I didn't hear about was the jump that would take place for the final stage of the race into which was quite surprising. Oh my God! I think I am going to be sick. I think a little sick.
Why did you just take a selfie?
Sick has just come out my mouth.
Oh my God! I've died. Broken. Like I actually just.
America
my
was finally going to win something again. They won World War II. But they hadn't won anything since then.
No, they didn't. They did not win World War II. Do you know anything about history?
Well, they did. They won.
The Soviet Union won World War II.
They won with.
The Soviet Union did the most for World War II. They won it
against Japan, which was their. So, and now I was coming across the finish line and across the line. Well, I have 111,000 now, which is not.
Sorry, is that 1.6 million? Is that 1 point that you just said?
No, but I'm still not. I'm not in bankruptcy anymore. Okay, let me go.
The challenge is a race back to our studio. Simulation damage. Just sturdy these cars really are.
Are we using off-road? I mean, preferably you actually don't want to use off-road because we don't have
to use it, but it is quicker, so you can use it if you want. 3, 2, 1, go. Just a question, are you running ABS?
I'm running everything off.
Okay, so you don't have brakes, because my brakes don't work with ABS on. Off, sorry. You're following me.
For a few seconds, I decided to follow Marco. Which,
yeah, but you have no sense of direction.
Meant I was basically behind him. And I decided to go across the road and try and get out of this place. Nice Australian day. Oh,
the engine sound is pornography.
Terrorism movie.
Oh no,
yes,
I've killed something.
He's crashed. No, I've crashed into him. Oh dear, I think
my steering rack is broken again. Broken my steering rack, you absolute.
Well, that's your own bloody fault. You've bloody broke my engine.
Great. My engine's fine.
I think you should have a penalty for that.
It's not, though. It's off-roading. We're all Welsh murderers. Or at least I am.
No, not all. I'm homosexual. How rude.
I'm just going to edit that out. And I'm just going to cut the bit. I'm just going to get you saying, I am a... I think you've taken off-road because this is not a matter of what car is better. It's
this
a matter of national.
Essential to the
it's a matter of national pride. Kieron, do you really want America to triumph over Britain? A bit of. I have to say.
Oh yes, I'm there. I'm at the studio.
I have to say, and I am at the studio already. So
am I. I think we're in different.
Well,
ones.
which studio are you in?
No, I'm in the furthest one. I saw you on the map and you're going down, so you're not quite there. I was here first.
I'm in the studio.
I'm in the other one.
Oh, well, I was in this one first. I was definitely in this one first.
But it don't matter. It was whoever was at the airport first and in a studio.
Okay.
Well, America again has triumphed over Britain, which actually has hardly ever happened, so I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm going back to the studio.
We're in the studio, we can't go back to it. Again, or not again, America has triumphed over Britain, and on that bombshell, good night.